Welcome, new and old friends. My name is 2482, and today I have two stories for you from the subreddit Legal Advice. The first one about a woman who has cancer, but it seems her coworkers don't believe her. The second is about a bank messing up and refusing to fess up. So grab yourself a tea or a coffee before you listen to these stories today. I exposed my chest at work as proof I had breast cancer after boss and coworker were spreading rumors that I didn't actually have cancer. Arkansas. I had breast cancer about 1.5 years ago. I got surgery and took FMLA. Luckily, I didn't have to undergo chemo or radiation. Surgery was able to remove all my tumors. I still have checkups and screenings occasionally and have to miss work. Another coworker in another department has breast cancer, but unfortunately was unable to have it removed by only surgery and had to be out longer. She is still undergoing treatment. I declined reconstruction on my breast, so I was able to come back to work after 3.5 weeks. My FMLA is intermittent. I do take it occasionally for these checkups and screenings because I am a high risk of it returning. I have no breasts on my left side, just a flat scar, no breast tissue. And I have no nipple and only a small amount of breast tissue on my right side. They removed a lot of my breast tissue with my lumpectomy, but were able to salvage about 55% of my breast tissue. I have no nipples. I did something very dumb because I'm a very dumb person. My coworkers and my immediate supervisor have been talking about my breast cancer for weeks because I had to miss an important meeting for a breast cancer MRI and bone scan. I requested it off, got my manager and HR to approve it, converted under my FMLA signed by my oncologist. They have been spreading rumors that because I came back to work so soon that I don't have breast cancer. I wear a prosthetic at work so no one sees me flat. They are saying everyone they know with the cancer always has to take a lot of time off work, and I seem fine. They, coworkers and supervisor, not my manager or HR, are saying I'm abusing FMLA. Someone said they saw me out at the store after an oncology appointment that was approved by my manager. And I did stop by the grocery store on my way home, and I looked fine. Again, I'm not on chemo, so my appointments are checkups and blood draws. I feel fine after. They are emotionally draining, but physically, I feel great. It got to the point where I was scared to even take appointments because I knew coming back to work would be the worst. Again, my manager has always been supportive and HR too. This is just my supervisor and my coworker. I have a surgery coming up to help me with some scarring. They are just going to clean up some of the tissue now that everything has healed and I have been cancer-free for over 1 year. I let my supervisor know that they are thinking about scheduling it for the summer, and he said, "Right, the cancer thing again." One particular day last week, I got upset because I heard them in the office next door talking about me. They were saying I was scamming everyone and that I didn't deserve the upcoming raise, about how I didn't have cancer. I got upset and I walked over and I lifted my shirt and prosthetic bra and showed them the scars on my chest. I did cover my remaining breast with no nipple with my hand, but my scars were on display for all to see. I told them to go fudge themselves and went back to my desk. This was on Friday at 3:30 p.m. I left at 4:30 like I always do. No one has said anything. It is now Monday, and I am worried. I've had time to think over the weekend and realized it was a huge mistake. I should have just gone to HR about the gossip. I have seen my manager, but they haven't said anything. My supervisor hasn't said anything. None of the gossiping coworkers have said anything. The ones that don't gossip haven't said anything and are acting like normal. What should I do to unmess this up? What can I expect them to do with me legally? Could the coworkers I exposed my chest to call the police? My husband said they likely could, but probably wouldn't. Do I get a lawyer now and ask his advice? Would I hurt myself more by going to the manager and HR and saying I messed up? I'm so worried and confused. Any legal advice would be appreciated. I know they can legally fire me for non-protected reasons, and this isn't protected. First, I'm going to read you some comments, and then I'll give you my opinion. Chris P. Bacon says, I think you made your point. They're too ashamed to do anything now. They literally were talking smack about someone who had cancer. Sampola Visor says, those people potentially have a lot to lose by going to HR, and the company would potentially have a lot of loss for firing a person who had breast cancer and was harassed for it. In fact, I bet they are pretty scared you might go to HR about it. Cupcakes and Vodka says, I am not a lawyer, but I am a healthcare compliance officer who specializes in privacy and investigations. This is an issue you would get a pass on, were you under my organization. You might get a verbal warning for your actions, but I would be unlikely to recommend termination. My job is to protect the organization. Having an employee being harassed non-stop by a supervisor and then firing her for finally bending under the harassment is not a look that I or most organizations would want to take on, so here is my real advice. 1. Document every snarky comment, every snide look, everything. Who did it, when, what time, who witnessed it. You should have been doing this already to present to HR for a hostile work environment. If you haven't, document everything you can recall and keep it in case needed. Be factual and unemotional. No speculation about meaning, just what they actually said and done. 2. If HR calls you in on this particular case, again, remain factually accurate. Be upfront about what was said to you and your basis for eliminating the rumors. Do not answer what isn't asked. Do not overstate or overshare about your emotions or feelings. Leave those out. Then share your documentation from number 1. 3. If you are not called into HR, say nothing at all. I would wager your supervisor and colleagues are probably more worried about what is coming to them right now for what they have been doing to you. 4. If something actually does happen as a result and you are terminated, I would seek legal input, as you will need documentations from 1 and 2. So if you are written up and terminated, ask specific questions about why, and the more that is in writing, the better. And that's all the comments, because that last one blew everything else out the water. So my thoughts on this one is, HR is never going to know about this. The supervisor and colleagues aren't going to say anything because they're going to get very reprimanded for this. HR would probably get a stern talking to, but probably, firing a cancer patient, probably not really good PR. OP keeps calling herself dumb, and really, at the end of the day, she wasn't that dumb. She stopped the rumors from happening. She finally can go to those appointments, and the supervisor and her colleagues are just going to leave her alone. She's going to have to cover her butt a little bit, and she should have went to HR instead, but that's too late. But really, they have egg on their face just as much as she does. My bank put my account under another account, and that person's been slowly transferring money out of mine and into theirs. Bank won't undo anything, and cops won't help. So, on January 16th of 2019, my bank account was placed under another account, much like if you opened a child's bank account under yours. This gave the person unrestricted access to my funds, transactions, and allowed them to make transfers. For whatever reason that exists, transfers to the parent's account are not shown on the recent transactions and only appear in account transactions. I never really looked at the account transactions because no need to. They only showed me what I transferred to savings because they were the only account transfers I was doing and could quickly see the savings balance on the main screen. However, I noticed about 3 weeks ago that $100 disappeared in front of my eyes, and my recent transaction showed nothing. Perplexed, I called the bank, who informed me it was a transfer to the parent account on the account. Well, I never had a parent account, never authorized one, and definitely don't want one. And after research on my own in the account transaction page, found this person slowly had taken $3,620 total since January. The bank will not remove the parent account unless the parent account agrees, will not refund or return the money already taken since the account had authorization. However, I never gave permission. The police, after a short talk with the bank, tell me no crime has been committed since the account is authorized to do so. I've since removed all the money from the account, canceled all direct deposits, but I'd really like my money back. I live in Missouri. If that changes any relevant banking laws or how I go about getting my money back. Thanks. I'll read you the comments before I give you my 2 cents. Deleted says, I would get in contact with OCC directly. I'm guessing someone from the executive level of the bank will contact you within 24 hours. And within a day or so after that, all will be resolved. All complaints to OCC are recorded, and if the bank institution fails to answer and remedy, it will become a mark on their record. Not a good thing. If you're legit, the problem will get resolved. Good luck. OP asked what OCC is, so this is the answer to that. Generic user says, the OCC is an office of the Controller of the Currency, an agency within the U.S. Treasury Department. They are primary and predominantly regulator of the national banks and Federal Savings Association. If your bank is a national charter, they will be the appropriate avenue. You are specifically looking for customer association group. Because of the whole Wells Fargo fiasco, all complaints now receive a follow-up call with a commissions bank examiner. Source, former bank regulator. So I'm going to give you my opinion before we continue. Just like OP, I have no clue where to go on this. I would have turned to Reddit for some help too. They did give OP the name that was on the parent account, but that's all they're willing to give out. They're covering their butts on this very badly, so it seems like the OCC is the best option. And luckily, we have an update, so let's go there next. Update. I submitted an OCC complaint against my bank the same day I posted. About 2 weeks later, the bank called me and asked me what day works for me, and I'd be meeting their National Enterprise Financial Crime Director himself at my local branch. Or, if I did not want to come in, they would come to my house even after business hours. The next week, I go in and meet him. He does nothing but apologizes for about 20 minutes and tells me they will immediately cut me a check and or give me cash for the missing funds that were transferred to the mistakenly approved parent account. I quote that phrase because he said it exactly like that about 20 times. I tell him great, I'll take the cash since I've already opened a new account elsewhere and do not intend to continue using their service since it took me reporting them to the government agency before they did anything at all to fix the situation that was clearly their fault. He tells me that's fine and he understands, but he just needs me to sign a small document saying the situation has been remedied to my satisfaction, and the small document is about 20 pages of stuff that I understand about half of, but I kind of see it basically me saying that I'm being refunded the money and I can take no legal action against them, cannot talk about it, cannot tell anyone their mistake. Also, I must remove all public postings, mentions, anything negative about the bank from the online reviews or websites publicly accessible. Seems they found my Reddit post. He tells me I cannot receive my money unless I sign this. I tell him definitely not, since I can't understand half of this. And I leave without my money. So once again, I file another OCC complaint online and call to speak to someone. They tell me this is being escalated and to wait to hear from them. About a week later, the bank is once again calling for a meeting. I tell them I want nothing except a check mailed to my address on record and to leave me alone otherwise. After a few calls, a check finally showed up for the full amount that was transferred to the parent account. Thanks LA for telling me about the OCC. They take complaints seriously, and it's what it took to finally get the whole thing resolved. I hope you enjoyed those 2 stories, my friends. Tell me what you think in the comments. Tell me if you have a different opinion of me. I love to have a chat with you guys. If you enjoyed this video, then hit that like button and make sure it feels it. If you want to hear more, then make sure to subscribe and turn that bell to all notifications. Come back this Sunday for our spooky, scary Sundays. I hope 42 finds us some good, chilling tales. Have a good day, my friends.